What is up, everybody? Gonna get started here momentarily. Hello, hello, hello. I never know exactly when the stream actually starts because there's like a lag, so I'm like saying hello 5 times. All right. What's up, JVS? My moderator to keep everybody in check. Hello, Vadas. Okay, not even gonna say it. I'm gonna call you Vats. Sam Nam, what's up? GD, Spimy, David, I got that one. Kumar. We're gonna get started here once people maybe about a minute and a half. Get some people in here. It has been a while. It's been 3 or 4 weeks since the last live stream. Kind of taken a break. I've been getting so much into another hobby or two. Actually, we want to sell our house soon, so I've been focusing on getting a few rooms ready. And then I'm getting into reptiles. So the last 2 days I've been focusing on building an enclosure for a Burmese python, which is going to be massive once it grows up. Yeah, Debug, you got to post that. You have to read the description on YouTube. It'll tell you what to do. It's here in Discord. You got to post in Discord. Okay, hey, dude, don't ask the same question a million times in a row. Perhaps I will do it. Stop it. Stop that. Timeout. That dude's getting put in timeout. All right. All right, let's get started. Wow, 157 people watching already. Okay, so for those of you who are new, real quick, I'm going to give a recap of what we do here. This is the negative space. It's just the show name. And basically, you guys submit any projects that you've designed. They could be a personal portfolio. They could be something you did for a client. And they could be an app or a website. And you go to the link in the YouTube description. It takes you to Discord, which is a free chat application, but right here. And then if it's your first time, you're going to have to go into the roles and you have to click an emoticon react in order to unlock all the other channels. It's like an anti-spam measure. And then you click on negative space submissions and then you submit your link here. All right. Then I take them in the order they come in. And I guarantee you, I've got so many already because I announced this 30 minutes ago that I'm not going to get through all of them. So if you really want me to get to your review, you can send in a super chat just like this person did. This Jobs in Hub or whatever. All right, so just make sure to mention your Discord username in the message of the super chat. All right, let's get started. All right. See, unfortunately, this person didn't really do what they were supposed to. Oh, jobbing. They did do what they were supposed to. I thought it meant like job, but that's the Discord username right there. You did it correctly. All right, so I have somebody helping with me with those. Yep, there you go. He messaged me. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that link. And this is going to be our very first project review. All right. All right, so this person sent a super chat. Thank you very much. Now there was some initial animation. Let's refresh this. It just kind of comes down in. It's pretty subtle animation, so I'm cool with that. I like the background photograph watermark. Yeah, you can still read everything. A lot of times when people put photographs in the background of like the hero section or whatever, and they have text on top, a lot of times they screw it up, and it's hard to read the text. This here is a dark enough image to where that's not an issue. So welcome to Meba Australia, and then sermons. Okay, so I'm not 100% certain about what exactly this is about. I could see there's a Bible, so I guess there is context or a Bible of some sort, some type of religious script or whatever. But usually it helps to maybe utilize the headline a little bit better. for better ad copy. Not just welcome to me, but Australia. Maybe make that a sub headline, and then really put a powerful message for this large headline right here. Let's scroll down though. All right, I kind of like this. Kind of like a nice modern sort of layout. I really like the type. A lot of white space. All right, this is just nice. I like this section a lot. Pretty good here. Yeah, this is all solid. One thing I think is maybe just a tad bit spread out. Maybe I'm being a little bit too picky. Maybe just slightly decrease the amount of white space between these links up here. So maybe home would be like right around here, and then all the rest over here. Other than that, I think this is solid for what it is. We'll check out a sub page here. Now, oh, okay. Yeah, this is all, it's pretty solid. It is pretty solid. What do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Let me know in the chat. I'll give you guys like 10 or 15 seconds, and then I'll give you my opinion, and we'll see if you guys lined up. For me, what am I going to say? I'm going to give this one a 7.8. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. It's a pretty, yeah, maybe 7.7-ish or so. Yeah, pretty good. Thank you for that. We got another submission via a super chat from T20, I think, whatever it was. Let me see here. Let's see what they said. They said, still working on the site, but you get the gist. All right, let's open that up. All right, so thank you, by the way. Who was that super chat? T20S Grunt, $5 one, thank you. All right, committed to you. This is a pretty solid section. I like the type here. I think possibly we could probably push this down just slightly more. So if we take this and do like margin top, kind of like that, a little bit better, just so it separates these areas out just a tad bit. Here's what it was before. Yeah, it's a little bit close together. There's a lot of, it's kind of just jumbled from 1, 2, 3. So spacing them out might help a little bit more. There was some animation here. Pretty cool animation. For this text, this little banner type thing right here, I would scale the size of this down because it's real close to this large diamond of sorts. So just a little bit more white space and separation in that area. Oh, look, the cursor changes to a diamond. All right, love and engagement rings. Fine jewelry. It almost seems like this container is so big, it's so much white space down here, like there should be like a subtext underneath it, maybe a sentence or two. Otherwise, move this back up to where you have equal amount of white space on the top of fine, as well as the bottom of jewelry, or the bottom of the learn more button. I like this section, that's pretty cool. All right, overall, not too bad. The one thing, see, when it comes to logos, one thing that I try to avoid when I'm making a logo myself is making a logo that has that's like kind of tall or square, or if that makes any sense, because usually when you stick it in a header, it makes the header real large, like the navigation, like the nav bar. So I'm a fan of trying to stick with more horizontal logos if possible. That may not have been possible in this case, but you can see how much space there is here. And then plus, if you have like a secondary bar up here, it even makes it that much taller. But anyhow, I think this is pretty solid. I like the mixing of the type serif and sans serif. What do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the very best. Again, I'd say this is almost similar quality to the first one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a maybe like a 7.6 or so, something like that. You guys said 7, 8, 7, 4. Jesus, I've seen this. That's not a 4, man. 6, 8, 6, 7. Okay, somebody said a 10. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. So now we're gonna get to our first actual submission that's not a super chat, and let me go find it, and let me scroll up. I know we're off screen right now. 1 second. All right, so this is Unfinished Personal Website from Tala. All right. Okay, so okay, so I like the usage of having this watermark where it says code and design, but I think maybe you should change up the positioning because everything's centralized right to the center. Maybe think about maybe just putting code, design on one line perhaps, and if it span across, that way it takes up more space. Just because there's no navigation at the top, it's just this. And also, when it comes to having a call to action, I talked about this in my last video about things you shouldn't do when you have a portfolio. When you have a call to action, you should, and you have a portfolio, people want to see your work before they contact you. So make this my work or something like that. And then you could have a secondary button that says hire me or contact me or something like that. All right, full stack web developer. All right, so one problem with this, it's not in terms of design necessarily, it's the fact that you're using your portfolio as your projects. Now I understand that you may have no other projects here, but if this is the first thing and you're going to try to get clients with this as it stands right now with just your own portfolio as being your only project, you're not probably going to get hired, or very unlikely at least. All right, contact me. So if I click in message or email, unfortunately, yeah, you definitely want to have the labels or at least floating labels. You don't want to rely on placeholder values. And there's a number of reasons for that, mainly accessibility and stuff like that. So overall, not too bad here. Just a few things to think about. Normally, it is helpful to have a navigation. People are used to that as well. So what do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Vishnu, I never heard of it called dark space. I've heard of it white space or negative space. Wow. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and rate this one probably, let's see here, a 6.3 or so. Something like that. Yep. You guys seem to kind of agree if we average it all out. Okay. So next up will be Jaska. Oh, this kid, yeah, 23. Okay, so, all right. Now, if this is, yeah, okay, so this is a personal portfolio. It says it in the title here. One thing, my immediate impression, just taking the macro, you know, a large step back and just looking at it as a whole is there's a lot happening here. That's because you have a lot of text here. You have border here, which this almost makes it look like a button when you encase it in this border. So I wouldn't do that. You have it over here. You have a secondary column with a lot of just various information. The way you've chosen to center your navigation with really large links right here to social media, that you kind of have it reversed. When it comes to social media and stuff, usually those are smaller. They're kind of secondary navigation. And then this right here is going to be should be the more prominent navigation, because they're on your website and these are the pages on your website and these are just external links. I wouldn't feature these so prominently myself. So what I would work on doing is trying to simplify this overall area, at least above the fold, the traditional fold, in the initial area, kind of like having a hero section or something like that. Otherwise, let's scroll down and see what's happening here. So at least we have taking us right to the project. So I'm a big fan of that. When you have a hero section and you scroll down, a lot of people put like their skills, their about me stuff. I like seeing the projects. What it is that you have to offer as much as possible. That's what clients are going to be interested in. We'll see the work that you could produce. All right, so looking at this here, this is actually a pretty nice looking design. There's a lot of text here. That's gonna overwhelm people. One way to tackle this is just to provide a tiny bit of information. Maybe like just keep this too right here, like this line and all this stuff for each one of these elements, and then just put a link to like a case study or learn more. And then you could take them to a dedicated page that really goes into more detail for each one. That way you're not having all this wall of text, that's on your home page. I would get rid of the border in the middle here. It's just unnecessary. I'd probably beef up these the padding inside of your text fields right here, because it seems a little bit small. The send button is almost kind of hard to even realize that it's a send button. It looks like it could be like the border of bottom of this text area. So you want a more traditional send button that's kind of separated for sure. All right. So what do you guys think this person should receive for the rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Nine. How many people are watching right now? 375, not bad. All right. So for me, I'm going to give this a rating here of around a 6 probably. Yeah, just around a 6. Seems like a lot of you are saying 6, 4, 6, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6, 5, 5, 6, 6 or so. So yeah, I think like this right here. This, just looking at this example, is probably a lot higher than just a 6 alone, because this looks solid. All right, so thank you for that. Next up, we have a couple more super chats. Super chat 3. Let's do. Somebody else sent a super chat too. Where were they at? Hold on. I thought I saw another one. No, I guess not. Okay, cool. All right, this is from Pones. Thank you, by the way, for the super chat. Okay, so my immediate reaction now for this one is I was checking my browser to see if I was zoomed out, because it seems like things are small. It feels like it should be around this big, like 150% or 125% of what it is, but this is the actual size right here. So this is going to be, for this viewport at least, this resolution, because I'm at 4K, almost maximized. This looks way too small for the text. Also, too much line height on this section right here. I would bring these closer together and also make them larger and just kind of scale them all up. Otherwise, it would look pretty solid. Let's continue down. So simple card section, this works. Discover best solutions, creative team, good white space between these areas. Yeah, this is all pretty solid. Again, we're relying on placeholder values, so definitely don't want to do that. You at least make them floating labels. But other than that, and the couple things that I mentioned, this is pretty solid looking. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is the sticky nav, the logo. I think the simple solution should be white because it's kind of hard to see based on this background. All right. Pretty cool. What do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. See, I don't like to speculate if it's a WordPress template or some other template or whatever. I'm just looking at the design alone because there's no way for us to know unless he told us it's a template. Hopefully I'm not reviewing a template though. For me, this as it stands is probably a solid like 7.4 or so. Yeah. We'll go ahead and go back. All right, so we have another super chat, and unfortunately did not mention his oh wait, yeah, no username. So assuming that he didn't have anything for me to review, thank you very much for that $10 super chat. Awesome stuff. Okay, continuing on. Let's see here. Up next, sorry, I'm looking off to my other screen, is going to be Samnan. Okay. Samnan submits every time I have a live review. He's very excited. All right. Okay. Fortunately, it looks like it's a little bit pixelated. Like, it's kind of hard for me to see because it doesn't look like this was in high res. Looking at it for what it is, though, the one thing I like a lot of it, but the one thing I kind of think is kind of strange looking is the pink search field, and it looks like there was also maybe a drop shadow. I probably would not do that. I would either make this a very, very light gray, so it's completely desaturated, and I think that might be a little bit better. Plus, I would get rid of any type of soft drop shadow. Other than that, from what I see, this looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit too light on the subtext, like let's discover some new inspiration. Maybe a little bit too little contrast there. Again, you want to make sure you use the contrast tool to make sure you get at least a 4.5 to 1 contrast ratio. But other than that, this text looks a little bit small down here on this area. But other than that, the colors are all pretty nice. Layout's good, white space, all that stuff. So what do you guys think this person should get for the rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. For me, I'm going to say a 7.5 or so. Pretty solid 7.5. All right. We have another super chat. Okay, it's from the other person that submitted a super chat. There we go. This is from Mr. Orloff, I believe. Look at that emoticon. All right. Okay, so let's refresh this. We have some subtle animation. Whoa. What is happening there? Interesting. All right. What happens if I click him? Okay, I guess that's an Instagram. Okay, so a couple comments just before I start to scroll down. I think this right here, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. And plus, it is so large, especially for what it represents. You generally don't want to like make people guess based on where they're going to take them. So I thought something was going to happen on this interface, but really it just takes me to another browser tab that takes you to your Instagram. So really just use the Instagram icon, a small icon somewhere, like in the sub nav or something, and just put the just put it there, because this is a little bit misplaced in my opinion. Secondly, the hey, I'm this part, this is a wall of text. It's a headline, but it's almost like a paragraph. And I don't want to sit here having to read through all of it. So I would definitely stick more to the standard convention where you have just a few words of your headline, and then you can go ahead and elaborate, maybe where it says, starting at I have a drive for building blah, blah, blah. Make that a sub-headline, much smaller text. I know this is kind of like a cool thing, but that as well is kind of jarring. I'm not sure if that's necessary. Who am I? Node. All right, cool. All right, my works. Let's see here. Not a too bad section. Probably the best section so far. Now, there's too much white space from here. You know, this is your work, but then we have this big empty white space that just says more work, so I move that way up. Also, for some reason, there's it almost looks like this is an unordered list, and you forgot to take off like the padding or whatever. This should start right here at the column that more work is on, because it just looks funky when it's kind of shifted over for no apparent reason. So also one thing I talk about is for contact me. Somebody might be on a phone or even a PC where they don't have their email client set up. So if they click this and they don't have their email client set up, then they can't contact you. Always have an actual contact form embedded on your website. All right, so what do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. He sent 2 super chats, I think, anyhow. All right. For me, I'm going to give this a rating of probably just a middle of the road 5, because I think there was some issues that definitely need to be addressed. But once you know how to address them, it doesn't take long to fix them, so that's a good thing. You can easily, in an hour, go from like a 5 to a 7, 7.5, 8, or whatever. Okay, thank you very much for the super chat. So, okay, who is next? So there wasn't another super chat then. Okay. Wait, yes there was. From Metastern. Website is RTL, supposed to be in Hebrew, so don't mind the text. Can you also review for mobile? All right, well, I'll check it out. Where's my translation? I guess I don't have translation. Usually it gives me a little translate option. All right. Yeah, so the RTL, right to left things are just kind of flipped around. Let's scroll down. All right, so from what I see here, this is pretty solid. I would probably want to make a couple adjustments if I can. Sometimes this doesn't work based on font weight 500. There we go. We want to make that bold to really separate it from that and establish a better visual hierarchy. We could probably even do margin bottom is 0.5 rem. Let's do like 1.5 rem units. That's a little bit better. So that's better right there. I would say push donate down even further, down to here, and make it a little bit larger and this part bold. All right, so this is what it was before without that change. I think mine is a bit better just because it's structuring that visual hierarchy a little bit better. All right. Outside of that, I wish I could read what's exactly what's happening here, but I can't. So one thing that's slightly off here, again, is nitpicky. A lot of white space above our work, which I think is a good appropriate amount of white space. But then down here, there's hardly any. There's like a fourth of it. So try to just push that down quite a little bit more. Now, I will say this. I did a recent video, probably within the last month or two, about formed designs. And one of the things you don't want to do is use underlines only for text fields. You want to definitely, at least, if you're going to do underlines, at least maybe make the background of this. So if I come here, maybe I can do this right now really quickly. We'll take this text field. We'll give it a background color of not transparent. We'll grab this color initially, and then maybe we'll just go slightly lighter. Like that. And then also, when it just says, when you have a placeholder value plus a label, that's unnecessary because people know what an email address is and what you're asking for. So it's kind of like you're being redundant, plus it clutters up the design. So I would just take a placeholder, get rid of that. And look how much better it starts to look already. And we'll do that one more time down here. So now this looks a lot better and it's more usable and more accessible than what it was. So if I refresh, that's what it looks like now. Excuse me. So what do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. All right, how long have we done this already? 31 minutes. Okay, we're a bit over halfway. For me, I'm gonna give this a rating here of, I think this is just a solid, probably around a 6 or so. Yeah. All right, let's cut back. Super Chat 6. You can review digitalstingray.com. I plan on redoing it, and this is all hand-coded with no CSS framework. Okay, so let's open that up. All right. So first, a couple things. I kind of felt, based on this typeface you're using, it felt just a little bit cheesy for me. It's kind of like blocky, but not. It seems like a lot of people were using that type back 10 plus years ago. I would think about a different type for that area. And plus, I just don't think it works well, especially when it says get started. That's just a regular type. It looks like Arial or something like that. I don't think they really work that well together. Digital Stingray development. You can hardly see development, so I'd opt probably just to get rid of the development sub headline right there. Next up, this picture right here, the photograph is so, it looks like it was just intentionally darkened and it looks dull and it doesn't contrast well hardly at all with the background here. So you want that type of thing to stand out a lot more. Next up, you have a very subtle navbar background, which is transparent. It's just slightly darker blue. Unnecessary in my opinion, so I would just remove that. Next up, we're mixing like this looks like Times New Roman or something, and we're mixing this serif font with this font. So we have 3 different fonts already. We have one right here, one right there, and get started, and then we have another serif font down here. And so these cards just look real cheesy in my opinion. Mainly because it's just the type, and also there's just a way too strong of a outer glow on that. Plus, then you add in the hover with a solid, just 1 pixel black border. It just looks dated, really dated. Same thing with this section over here. No visual hierarchy because who we are is the same exact as this type. So yeah, that's my comments on that. Definitely could be improved and modernized big time. So you're going to be redesigning it, so that's a good thing. What do you guys think this, as it stands, should be or get as a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. I don't think it's, somebody said it's a 1. I've seen way worse than this, so I don't think it's a 1. but it's certainly not going to be high. Yeah, I'm going to give this one a 4.0. And it seems like most people are agreeing with me. All right. All right, we got another super chat to take care of. Let's open it up. Hi there, my name is Aman Agrawal, or whatever, however you pronounce that. All right, so the first thing that kind of annoys me, is I see this often, is IMA, and then it's like the whole typewriter effect. It goes so fast. If you're not looking right away, it just keeps on going. So if you're going to do that, slow it down and give it a pause before things change. Also, way too small. Also, way too close to this headline. So I think this needs to be pushed down. Also, hi there, my name is blah, blah, blah. This is a headline. I think you can be much more unique with your headline to really focus on. This is stuff that I've talked about in the past in my other videos too. Just saying your name right here. I mean, if this is your personal portfolio, you could just put your name up there, then they know who this is, and then you can really free up this to say something a little bit more unique and something that'll help you stand out from the competition. Next up, experience, freelancer. So again, we have a column established here where it says experience, and then we have indented here with some white space or margin right here, and they just don't flow well like that. I like things being all on the same column and starting on the same column, with a few exceptions. Same thing right here. It's just there's not a lot of white space between education and this. It's like right up against this. You want to push things away so they have room to breathe, especially on a larger viewport like this. Again, massive amount of white space here. Hardly any, there's some white space here, but then it's like amplified by about 5 or 6 times right here. So it's just these type of inconsistencies result in design that's not good. I also talked about this recently, using the whole rating bars to self-assess your skills. I would not do that. Find a different way to do that. You can look at my last video from last week where I talk about the 6 things you shouldn't do on your portfolio, and then you can kind of get other ideas. Again, make sure you have an actual form where people can contact you. All right, what do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I'm going to rate this one a 4.5. All right. All right. How many people are watching right now? 466. Pretty good. Okay, so let's continue on. Super chat number 8. Let's get this over here. Let's close the other tabs. All right. Let's refresh this. Okay, so no animation. All right. So, there's a number of issues here. So obviously, on a larger viewport like this, you have so much more available to you, obviously, in terms of things that you can do. So if you want to maximize your portfolio, then you want to maximize the space that you have available. This looks like it's basically just a mobile or a tablet only design. So that's my first critique. Outside of that, second, there's obviously not much layout or structure occurring here. Might as well just review this as if it's a phone layout, really, or a smartphone. More white space from these 2 sections, so you want to push reach me at a little bit down further. Looking at the next part, also this area being lightly bordered, unnecessary. Not enough, hardly any white space right here with this headline. So you want to definitely fix that up. And then we have a form which is embedded with its own scroll bar, which I would say is a no-no. You definitely don't want to do that. So yeah. What do you guys just think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. I wouldn't say this is a 1 either. I mean, I've given a person 1 before, and it's way better, way worse than this. And just because something's simple and it doesn't have all of the like bells and whistles of a lot of CSS doesn't necessarily mean it's bad design as well. I mean, it's really simple, but just because it's simple doesn't mean it has to be a bad rating. So for me, for what this is, I'm going to give this a maybe like a 4.3 or so. Oh, wow, that person said the same exact rating. Okay, we're on the same wavelength there. All right, thank you for the super chat. Let's continue on. Super chat 9. Let's see. By the way, when you send a super chat, make sure you mention your Discord username, and don't send in the super chat. Like, message your actual site. All right. All right. So here's what I was talking about. The very first entry that I received, I had mentioned they did a good job on the photograph background because you could actually see the type on top of it. This right here is not the case. It's a really cool sort of photograph, but the white text on top of it with the very light kind of colors in the background make it hard to read initially. Of course, you could sit there for like a second and see it says simple authentication solutions, but it could be a struggle for some people with messed up eyesight. So I would I would decrease the brightness on this and just darken the image a bit more so we can see this a little bit better. So also, I was kind of left wondering, like, there's no call to action, and there is a scroll icon. I would move that up to around here and make sure, again, that you can really see it, because it's something you can't really notice down here. So these cards, I would probably try to change up the background color a little bit more. Let me see if I can find something that I would personally find a little bit more suitable. So if I take this, where's the background? We take it and change it to that color. Maybe right around there. I'm also not a fan of the, there's a subtle drop shadow on it. I don't think you need that either. Again, this is kind of like clumped together in there, so not a lot of white space in this section. So you can really, on this resolution, it's a viewport resolution, you really beef up the amount of white space in these areas. The illustrations, obviously, it seems like it came from one of those illustration packs or whatever. I probably want to use something a little bit higher quality. They just seem a little bit generic in my opinion. Also, to help separate and establish a little bit more visual hierarchy, you could do something like this with the type. Instead of making it absolutely 100% white on the description, you know, you could do something like, I wouldn't do gray. I would make it a little bit lighter, like right around there. I think that looks a little bit better. So if you use better illustrations and a little bit better alignment and make these equal height right here, these cards, and then the adjustments I mentioned here, I think it'd be a lot better in the end. So What do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. By the way, you can hardly even notice this up here, the navigation. You need to make that stand out, maybe a little bit larger, make them bold as well. All right. For me, I'm going to give this a rating of a 6.3 or so. Yeah, I think that's solid. And that was the last super chat. Okay, so now I need to find my place in the regular submissions. All right, I think this is the next one. bestofcode.net. All right, big issue here. We have a big resolution right here. There's basically no white space. There's no white space on the left of this right here. I'm not a fan of that, just because it's so pushed over. Let's scroll down. Ooh, that is a big difference in the section of the colorings. So you definitely want to use better thumbs, because this feels, it looks like this is perhaps an image. No, it's not. Okay, never mind. Darn it. It went by. Hold on. Yeah, I would definitely use better thumbnails for your software or whatever, to make them just, it'll make it look so much better. Everything bobbing up and down at the same time, wouldn't do that either. The sky chat is like this description right here is not aligned properly to this. So there's a 2-column layout here. I would center this vertically based on the height of this container, or if it's thumbnail or whatever. And it's also a little bit too big. This type right here is, it's just too large. So your hierarchy on your type elements is off. Again, we have features here, and then we have things are mixed up. Like you're using for the unordered list, you didn't make it the same type as this. So things are really just inconsistent big time here. No white space beneath this part, just right up against this. Then entirely different design aesthetic right here in this area. And so it looks like things just, what this is suffering from is a massive amount of inconsistencies. From the fonts used, to the styles used, centering these and the placeholder values. There's a lot wrong here. So what do you guys think this person should get for a rating? By the way, if you submitted this, or if you're a person who's designing stuff like this, you take my Scrimba course. Not just the free one, actually spend some money. Take my 9-hour UI Design Fundamentals course. You're going to get so much better. Just go to scrimba.com. You'll find it. It's called the UI Design Bootcamp. So 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do you guys think this person should get? For this, I'm going to say a 2.8. And it seems like you guys are pretty much agreeing. All right, next up is so we've been doing this for just about 50 minutes. We'll go for another 10 minutes or so. All right, big issue I already see. The big issue I'm talking about is this scroll bar, which has been customized, and it is so small that if I wanted to use my mouse pointer and left click, I have to get like within a few pixels, and so that's a usability issue. Beef that up at least. Right here in this section, you could use a little bit better alignment in terms of your margin and padding, like your white space, but also your type, and also the alignment of your type. So First off, the biggest thing that's wrong is these little icons are smashed right up against the side of this text right here, the headline and subheadline. You want to push those over. It's going to look so much better if you do that. Next up, I would probably, after doing that, move this whole section down away from the headline up here and the subheadline right here. So I might even just kind of restructure this area entirely and left align this stuff and put some sort of interesting like illustration over here perhaps. Start creating. That seems like an important button, call to action. It's kind of just like right here in the middle. Same color as this stuff down here, like these little, so you want this to stand on its own. Put it right here and make it a little bit larger. Next up, on this resolution, you can see there's just empty columns over here. Maybe spread this out, use the grid or flex box to really spread those out equally so you go from very left to the very right of the browser. All right. What do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best? Me, I'm going to give this, what am I going to give this? I mean, there's not much here, but I think I'll just give this a 4.5. Seems like you guys agree. All right, next up in line is, wait, Crunchbase? Oh, I thought that was like I'm thinking of TechCrunch. I was like, am I going to really do that? Please verify you are human. Press and hold. What is happening here? So I'm not sure what that was. If that was a part of your design and that's not some sort of like service, like if you're getting spammed or whatever, I definitely wouldn't do that. Because if you are doing that verification, that's a great way just to kill a lot of traffic. Biggest issue with this here, everything's crunched together massively. There's hardly any white space between your sections and padding inside of your sections. And so the stuff is just clumped together so much. And so this is overwhelming to look at. What you should be doing is like taking this whole area. We have a padding of 32 pixels. I wouldn't use pixels, by the way. If I did like 4 M units, let's do like something like that, and do that for every container down here. It'd be so much better. Next up, the alignment between this stuff is all off. Like, discover this should be larger. Select one or more filters for your search. More white space underneath it, because it's just right up against them. So just try to mind a lot of your white space. The biggest issue here is white space. So you want to, white space is defined by margin and padding in CSS. Again, like, where it says the date, July 10th, 2020, Christine Hall, you could barely even see those. This section down here is pretty good. You have a lot of data to work with, so it's okay in this context to have a little white space. The cards and the color, I like the background color and the white here. This is all designed pretty good. But this stuff up here definitely would need improved. Just so it's easier to track. All right, so what do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Yeah, for me, I'm going to say this is going to be a solid 6. All right. Next up, Super Chat number 10. Super Chat from a super fan requested a review right here. Also, what's your view on having a personal photograph on your portfolio site? Okay. So yeah, you can have a personal portfolio, or I think it's a good idea to have a photograph of yourself on your portfolio site, especially if you're aiming to get hired by like an actual company where you're going to work on site or whatever. But even then, it still makes sense to have a photograph. However, I've seen a lot of people put bad photographs of themselves. So if you have a crappy photograph and that's all you have, I wouldn't even put it. But it makes sense to get, you know, a real good picture that you could put and use it and place it correctly. Sometimes people will put like a massive avatar of themselves like this big, and it's like, oh my God, your mug's right in my face. I don't like seeing that. So definitely have one, but make sure it's good quality and you're also, you know, integrating into the layout in a way that works well. All right, so right here, again, it's one of those issues where I feel like it should be this big for this resolution, which is zoomed up 150%, but this is the actual size it is right here. So better, you need to work on your type a little bit better in this area because these two elements right here kind of squished together real small. This is a little bit too small as well, like I said. Let's scroll down. For some reason, it seems real laggy. I'm not sure if it's like my PC or what. Facilitating, blah, blah, blah. This part's not too bad right here. I would take this check overflow button, keep it white by default, and push it down a lot more. Maybe about like 100 pixels or so. Same comments with this section. Now this is sort of interesting because I'm not sure why this part's blank over here. Maybe just make it fill out all the way. All right. Definitely a lot of white space here. It works, but some of the areas like this one, it needs to fill out this area a little bit more. All right, so what do you guys think? Rating, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. By the way, I would not send any more super chats. So don't send another super chat because I won't get to it probably. For me, I'm going to give this just like a 6.7, I think works well here. All right. Let's see, where am I at? I got to find my place in the regular. Here's a Figma. All right, which one am I supposed to look at? Should I hit play? All right, so for this area, the services button, can I zoom this up? Jesus, why does it make it so big? All right, I guess I can only go to those two sizes. All right, there we go. Services needs to be larger because it's a little bit too close in size to credits. All right, so either make this darker and bolder and a little bit larger, or figure out a different way to do it. Credits, internet, I'm not sure. Obviously, this is not a finished, polished design, but it does seem a little bit redundant here in these sections. Probably low just because he's using all the same thumbs and all that. Is there anything I can click on? Let's go to next. This section right here, not too bad in terms of design. Nothing that's really sticking out as being horrendously wrong. Yeah, and this too. So not a lot of design to judge really, but we'll go ahead and rate it anyhow. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Yeah, I think I'll agree with JVS on this one, and I'm going to give that a 5. All right. Okay, we're going to do one more, and that is GD. The colors are customized by the house owners. By the way, I have a pic with visibility settings in it. Okay. Okay, GD. Unfortunately, if I open this up, there's not enough really for me to judge here. It's just not enough content. So I want to get a more full example to end this on. Dev snippets. All right, again, not a lot to judge on. She seems a little bit too large, this whole illustration. I would probably scale that down a little bit more. Or you can also do the approach where you kind of like just kind of cut part of the illustration off, make it large, and put it right up against the edge. You could do that as well. Jane Doe, web developer, pretty simple. I'm not sure if it makes too much sense to have social links right here as opposed to being able to check your work right on that site. I think that sometimes is a better experience rather than directing to entirely different websites. But yeah, I'm not going to bother with a rating for this one just because there's just not enough really here for me to judge. So anyhow, that is it. We're exactly at 1 hour. And yeah, I have to leave anyhow because I have to get ready and finishing this snake enclosure. So yeah, good stuff. It's been a month or so since I've done this. Also, some other news. I'm going to be hopefully sometime soon. I was supposed to do a live stream this same show, except doing it for Free Code Camp, but they delayed it because of the riots and stuff. So I'm not sure when we're gonna do that. Hopefully soon. And also, I will be doing like a guest post video. Possibly next week he'll upload it on Brad Traversy's YouTube channel because he's taking a little bit of a break for some health issues and stuff like that. And so I'm going to be doing an interesting sort of, I wouldn't call it a course, but maybe kind of like a small crash course for developers because he has a heavy developer-oriented channel based on learning UI design, so something like that. So look forward to that as well. All right, guys, I will see you guys soon. Thanks for all who attended and the super chats, and I'll see you guys